Chrissy's Books. I am Chrissy. Thank you for tuning in to my book review this week. I have a really sweet read, and it is Bride of the Sea by Eman Quotah, or Eman Quotah. Apologies if I mispronounced that. So I would love to thank Tin House Books for sending me an advanced review copy of this book. So this book came out on January 26th of 2021. I actually read it a while ago and I'm just getting around to finally reviewing it. When I saw this book, I knew that I really wanted to read it because how beautiful is this book cover? It's just so pretty. And I was so drawn to the title of the book. I think I saw it on Instagram or something, and I knew that I really wanted to read it. And also once I read the blurb of the book and saw that that it was based in Saudi Arabia, and that the author herself, Eman Quotah, is from Saudi Arabia, and she's an own voice author, and I always really like reading books from authors who are from the countries or a specific area of whatever the book is about. I definitely just wanted to read it just because I was like, oh, that sounds nice, and also really love the cover. So yeah, I read it, and here we are. So let's jump into the plot for Bride of the Sea. So the setting for this book is Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and also Cleveland, Ohio in the US. So we follow newlywed university students Munir and Saida, who live in a snowy Cleveland, Ohio, and are expecting their first child. Munir secretly wishes to divorce his wife Saida. Soon, their marriage ends and Munir returns to his home country in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, while Saida remains in Cleveland, Ohio with their little girl, Hanadi. Consumed by a growing fear of losing her daughter, Saida runs away with Hanadi, leaving Munir to desperately search for his daughter for many years. The result of this not only causes the lives of Hanadi and her parents' lives to change, but also their interwoven family and friends too. Those who now must choose sides and hide their own deeply guarded secrets. So that is what The Bride of the Sea is all about. So stay tuned, because when I come back, I'm going to give you guys my review, my rating, and also my song pick for Bride of the Sea. Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. Here we go. Let's go into the review for Bride of the Sea by Eman Quotah. So I knew very much, like I said in the beginning, I really wanted to read this book because of the setting of the book. I don't think I've read a book based in Saudi Arabia before, and I love reading about stories that are about immigration as well, and own voice authors. So I was definitely drawn to this book. If it wasn't for this book cover, I probably wouldn't even have read this book because it's just so cool. Look at it. So I'm actually going to review this book a little bit differently than what I normally review my books. I'm going to tell you what I liked about it, and I'm going to tell you what I did not like about Bride of the Sea. So let's start with what I liked about Bride of the Sea. So other than the beautiful cover and the title of this book, I really loved the setting of this book. Not Cleveland, Ohio, obviously, because I've actually been through that part of the country and it ain't all that. Jeddah in Saudi Arabia is what I'm talking about. I loved the setting of this book, and it really felt like you were there in the book. And because this book is told by an author who's actually from Saudi Arabia and from that part of the world, she really knew how to describe every little thing. Like, it felt like you could smell the food and just this noise, the street noise, and the culture, just everything. It was just, the setting was just stunning, and it really makes me want to travel there now. So that was one of my favorite things about this book. It just really completely transports you to Saudi Arabia, which was just freaking awesome. The second thing that I loved about this book is that, so I love supporting authors that are own voice authors. So if you don't know what own voice authors are, so that refers to an author from a marginalized or underrepresented group writing about their own experiences from their own perspectives, rather than from somebody who's from an outside perspective writing as a character from an underrepresented group. So yeah, so the fact that Eman Quotah is from Saudi Arabia, I really feel like she really just brought us to her home country, and also just the way that she told us the story was, it just felt really genuine and humble. So that was one of the things that I really liked about this book. And another thing that I liked about The Bride of the Sea was the fact that this was an immigration story. You know, they are migrating from Saudi Arabia to the US, Cleveland, Ohio, complete culture clash. And it's not even like you're moving to a city where you've got like immigrants from all over the world. They're like moving to a very kind of like very like super US, heavily American area where you probably won't see a lot of immigrants in that kind of area, as opposed to like New York City or San Francisco or whatever. So it is a total immigration story, and I really love reading about immigration stories. Just because, you know, can relate. So yeah, I love that aspect of the book, and I feel like, again, because the author is an own voice author, she knew exactly what she was writing about. And if you're a person who likes immigration stories, you're probably gonna like this book too. So another thing that I really enjoyed about Bride of the Sea were the close family ties. The characters in this book are surrounded by rich characters, especially the family members in Saudi Arabia. I feel like those family members are people that we all know. If you come from an immigrant family, it's just like very relatable, and I feel like it just brought a lot of richness and warmth to the book. So I really loved the strong family ties in this book. Let's talk about what I did not like about Bride of the Sea. One of the things that I really look out for when I read a book is, I've got sort of three things, but one of the things is the writing style, or the writing of the book. So because this book was told within like a time span of like 10 decades or something like that, it just felt so choppy, and at times it felt quite rushed, and I didn't really like the writing style of the book personally. I felt quite detached from it. It was just really choppy and very like a bit disjointed, and you know, when you sort of read it, you just didn't feel like you could connect, or like the words didn't really flow really easily for me. So yeah, that was quite a difficult aspect of the book. So yeah, and I just felt quite lost at times in the plot. I mean, not lost, but just like, it just, because it just jumps. Like sometimes you'd have like a decade that would be like a page or 2 pages, and then it jumps like, you know, a whole other decade. It was just like a lot. It was a lot that was happening. And it's not to say that I've read books, I've definitely read books that have been based in a long period time span. Like for example, The Mountain Sings was told over like a huge amount of time, and I loved that book. It was just amazing. But the way that it was written, and I never felt like I was lost in that book at all. But with this one, I was just sort of a bit like, what's happening? And then I sort of like, just, I don't know, it just did not flow very well in terms of the writing style, and it wasn't really written like super amazingly, in my opinion. The second thing I will say is that it never really felt to me at any point that there was a climax in this book. It all kind of just like, it just went like this, and then would dip down and just go like level and dip down and level, but it never really like climbed at all. Like again, it's, you know, told through a lot of, you know, many years, but it never just sort of like reached a point where I was like, oh, you know, this is exciting or anything like that. It just kind of felt a bit samey, and just like very non-climactic, or just not a climax. There was no climax. And then also you end up kind of being a bit bored. But like, I will say though, I was actually interested to know what was going to happen in the story, so I did actually finish the book and I read it. The third thing that's really important, obviously, are the characters in this book. So I actually really wanted to learn more about the characters in this book, especially the mother, because she was just so interesting. And with all of the characters, so basically I would say three main characters: the Munir, the father, Saida, the mother, and then the daughter Hanadi. None of their characters were developed at all. Like, you'd sort of like learn about the mom and you really want to know more, and then that's it. She sort of gets cut off from the story, and you never really know why she is the way she is, but you kind of do. So there wasn't a lot of character development, you know, from in my opinion. And I just felt like I didn't really know the characters, and therefore when you're not like invested in the characters, you don't really care about what happens, but you kind of do because you just want to know what happens. So yeah, I really wish that the characters were a little bit more developed, or at least so that we, you know, got to know one of the characters a little bit more. You sort of just like know bits and pieces, like you know quite a bit about the dad, you know quite a bit about the mom and the daughter as well, but it was all just so choppy and just, you know, kind of not very developed. So with all that said, let's jump into my rating for The Bride of the Sea. For this book, Bride of the Sea by Eman Quotah, I gave this book a rating of 5 out of 10. Yeah, so 5 out of 10 for Bride of the Sea basically means that the book was just a bit, you know, it was all right. I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. It's just like right in the middle. It's like if you're giving a 2.5, I was just sort of like, it's there, it's a book, and I read it, and that's that. If I could describe Bride of the Sea with 4 words, they would be alluring. This is because the cover of this book is just incredible. It's stunning. It's what caught my attention. So the design team did a really good job, you know, props to them. I was also drawn by the title of this book, and I loved, one of the things that I loved was the setting of this book. It was just told really well. It felt like you were there. You could like smell the food, and you could just like feel the buzz of the city and the heat and all of that. Like it just really makes me want to travel to Saudi Arabia. So the author definitely did a good job with that, just taking us to Saudi Arabia. The second word is intimate. And that is because this book is about family ties. It's also about, there's a lot of family drama that goes on in this book, and it's also about religion. So, you know, it is quite intimate subjects that are covered in this book. Yeah, which was really great. So it's a very intimate read. And the third word is rich, and this is because this book was written by an own voice author. The author is from where the book is. I mean, she can relate because she actually knows what she's talking about, which made the book feel much more richer, as opposed to if it was like, you know, a white person who's never been to Saudi Arabia talking about Saudi Arabia. And a great example is a book called American Dirt. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to get into that, but yeah, I got some feelings about that. So yeah, the fact that this book was written by an author who's actually from the country that she's speaking about just made it feel so much more richer and just made it feel really real and raw. So yeah, it was a very, very rich book. And I always support authors who are own voice authors. So well done. And my final word is earnest. And this is because this book was really humble. It was quite heartfelt story. It deals with grief. It deals with loss. And it really deals with a lot of real life issues and immigration as well. So yeah, there were just a lot of like real life relatable subject matters that were covered in this book. And so just to wrap up, I will say that The Bride of the Sea definitely deals with a lot of interesting issues, you know, such as immigration, colliding cultures, family ties, religion, self-discovery, grief, loss, healing. And it's ultimately a story about finding your own voice and understanding your life and your family ties and all of that. It's just a very like family-driven drama story. So with all that said, let's jump into my song pick, because you know I love music. And by the way, you guys, if you like my book reviews, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe, because I definitely read a lot of different books and I keep it real. You know, always gotta keep it real. So yeah, so my song pick for this book. So I really wanted a song that had like Middle Eastern vibes in it, and also I wanted a song that felt quite accessible, and I also want to expose you guys to some fun music and some fun bands. And I also just wanted a song that was instrumental, so you know, not too many lyrics, and just had like a feel, more like a vibe, that kind of vibed with this book. So my song pick for The Bride of the Sea is a track called Lady and Man by Khruangbin. They're a really cool band. They're from Texas, and they experiment with a lot of different sounds. They really like sort of world music, and this song has like some serious Middle Eastern vibes to it. And I just could like picture Saudi Arabia in the background, all hazy and like cool and hot, and yeah. So it's just a really cool song. I'm gonna link their Spotify and also their info if you want to check them out. They're a really cool band. And also I found a really great Spotify playlist called Middle Eastern Vibes, which I will link below too. So one of the fun things about reading different kinds of books is you get to discover different kinds of music. Well, I do anyway. So I hope you guys are enjoying that aspect of my book reviews. So that's it. So thank you so much. I'm gonna link Amazon link if you want to purchase this book, and also link my written review as well if you want to check that out. So thank you so much and have an amazing week.